Welcome to the Reboot.
I just want to thank you for taking the time out at such short notice to answer a few questions. I did hear about the story on WBEZ, and from that, it just really struck my interest, being a fairly new resident of Chicago, to find out more about the algorithm. So my first question is there an advantage to use a computer algorithm in crime fighting?
Oh, absolutely. The challenge to law enforcement has long been recognized by criminologists. It's called linkage blindness. That given the nature of how we investigate homicide in the United States, when a person is murdered, a detective, maybe two detectives, is assigned to the case. When another person is murdered, usually a different detective or a different team is assigned to that case. If there are commonalities in the two homicides, those commonalities will be overlooked unless those two detectives have a conversation, maybe over the water cooler, about those commonalities. If the homicides occurred in adjoining jurisdictions, that conversation never happens. The problem of linkage blindness has been known for decades now, and many criminologists believe that most series of homicides go missed because of this problem. What an algorithm can do is to dispassionately go through about 17,000 murders a year, that's what we've been averaging lately, looking for patterns, looking for clusters of similar murders that have a very low clearance rate. History tells us that almost all of the well-known serial killers disrupted local police's batting average, the rate at which they clear a murder through the arrest of the offender. The presence of a serial killer messes up those success rates because he's gotten away with it. And so what the algorithm looks for are clusters of similar murders in similar locations in which a very low number of homicides were cleared through arrest, far lower than would be expected for that location, or far lower than would be the national average for clearance of such murders.
Okay. Now, with the discovery of the algorithm, the story finally breaking on various news sites, and I believe there was also a news report on a local network, communities in Chicago are now more concerned about this series of missing Black women, and in the past, seemingly a lack of action from authorities, because I know that you do have cooperation from Chicago PD with any information or research that you uncover. How would citizens be able to utilize your model or develop their own to begin to augment crime fighting efforts?
We encourage everybody to go to our website. The Murder Accountability Project is a nonprofit organization, a very small nonprofit organization. We're all volunteers. But everything we do, we post online. And so if you go to our website at www.murderdata.org, you can actually download the algorithm. You go to the Data and Docs tab at our site, and you'll see a link to download our algorithm. Also, you can see a working model of our algorithm, an interactive model, at the Murder Clusters tab, so that you can actually interact with 769,000 case records of homicides in the United States. So you can literally be an armchair detective looking for homicides that have a very low clearance rate. We absolutely encourage people to experiment with the algorithm and to consider making improvements. We have a working group within our own group. We're trying to make changes, improvements in the algorithm using the Radford University serial killer database. which is the most complete accounting of serial murder available anywhere. The owners of the data have very kindly provided us with access to it, and we are in the process of testing improvements to the algorithm. But anybody can do this, and we absolutely encourage them to do it. Also, any Chicagoan can be a part of the solution for this. You can go to the main page at our website and you can download the report that we did for the Chicago City Council. That report includes the names and dates of all of the homicides of the 51 women that our algorithm is highlighting. And we would encourage people to read the report and to consider those crimes. Anyone with any knowledge about those crimes, please come forward. The Chicago Police Department is taking a fresh look at them, as are elements of the FBI. There are a fair number of eyes on this issue right now, and now's a good time. If you know anything, for heaven's sakes, call the Chicago Police Department and share what you know. We would encourage people also to share any theories they have. It is well known in law enforcement that when there is a series of murders, there often are survivors, people who have met the serial killer and survived. And if there is anyone out there who may have met the serial killer and has information that might be useful to police, please call the Chicago Police Department.
Okay. And here in Chicago and other smart cities are laying infrastructure of things like urban sensors and dynamic data, access flows. Do you envision a day where systems like yours are part of these smart systems? Like, are there any implications, advantages, or maybe even disadvantages?
Boy, I could not imagine any disadvantages. I think it would be magnificent if local police could start monitoring their own internal data using the same sorts of techniques that we apply to national data, which is always a year or two out of date. The reporting process to the FBI's Uniform Crime Report does involve a delay in reporting rates until we get the data. But internally, for major police departments, major city police departments, it would be not that difficult for them to be monitoring trends in their own data that would be live, and we would commend people to do that. And we would be happy to work with any police department that would like to experiment with a version of our algorithm for their own in-house data.
Okay, and I know you did mention the website a few times. Other than visiting the website and like downloading the algorithm, what are other ways people can support your efforts?
We don't need very much money, although we do accept donations. Nobody gets paid here. Primarily, what we would ask people of Chicago and people nationally to do is to go to the website, because we have easy-to-use portals to information about homicides in their community, wherever they are. We would ask people to become more aware of what the nature of homicide and homicide clearance rates are. In a growing number of cities in the United States, most murders go unsolved. And so we are hoping that making these data more readily available to the public becomes in itself a political force. We would encourage people to go to murderdata.org and then click on the clearance rate tab, and then call up the clearance data for their own community. You can select any police department in the nation, and you can see how often they are solving murder. If you don't like what you see, I would hope that you would consider having a conversation with your mayor or members of your city council or members of your neighborhood association. By and large, the rate at which we solve murder has been declining over the last 50 years. And the reason for that is a failure of resources being provided by city and county governments to local law enforcement. If you don't like what you see in the rate at which murders are cleared, have a conversation with your local leadership. They are in business to make voters happy. And if the voters get unhappy with murder, as I hope they will, then we hope good will come of that.